Hey, it's late, or maybe it's early. Honestly, I've stopped being sure which one is which when the house gets this quiet. I've been sitting with something for a few weeks now, and I think I finally found the words for it, or at least close enough to the words that I want to say them out loud before they disappear. I keep thinking about stillness, not the good kind, or, well, not what we usually call the good kind, not vacation stillness, not meditation stillness. I mean the other kind. The kind that shows up when you expected yourself to be moving by now. When you look at your life and there's this gap between where you thought the story would be and where it actually is. And the gap is just sitting there, quiet, not asking anything of you, just present. I used to call that falling behind. I don't think I call it that anymore. There's this idea. It comes from Montessori philosophy, actually. But honestly, it belongs to anyone who's ever watched something living try to grow. It's called the prepared environment. And the basic premise is this. Before a child can do the work they're ready to do, the space around them has to be right. Not perfect, not Instagram worthy, just right enough, safe enough, calm enough, arranged in a way that says quietly, you're allowed to try here. And what I've been turning over in my head lately is how rarely we think about that for ourselves, for our own stories. We talk so much about momentum, about getting unstuck, about moving forward. Gosh, that phrase, like forward is the only direction that counts. Like stillness is just a failure of momentum dressed up in a bathrobe. But what if some of the stillness we're so desperate to escape is actually the environment getting prepared? What if the story isn't stuck? What if the story is simply just getting ready? I think about seeds a lot. I know. Seeds are maybe the most overused metaphor in the whole emotional wellness space, and I'm sorry for that. I really am. Stay with me for a second because I'm not going in the direction you think. I don't want to talk about seeds growing. I want to talk about what happens before that. Because there's this period, and botanists actually have a word for it. It's called dormancy, where a seed is doing something that looks from the outside like absolutely nothing. It's not sprouting, it's not reaching, it's just there, in the dark, in the cold, waiting. But dormancy isn't nothing. Dormancy is the seed reading its environment, checking conditions, asking at some cellular level, is it safe enough yet? Is it warm enough? Is the ground ready to hold me if I open? And here's what gets me. The seed doesn't force it. It doesn't perform readiness to impress anyone. It doesn't sprout halfway and then apologize for not being further along. It just waits, honestly, until the conditions are true. I think we are so much more like seeds than we let ourselves believe. I had a year. Some of you know pieces of this, some of you don't, and that's okay. I had a year where I thought I was failing because nothing was moving. The writing wasn't coming, the clarity wasn't coming, the version of myself I thought was supposed to be by now was just not showing up for work. And I kept trying to fix the output with ever asking about the environment. I kept trying to write my way out of a space that wasn't ready to hold writing yet. It took me a long time, embarrassingly long, honestly, to understand that the work I was actually doing that year wasn't nothing. It just didn't look like anything. It was quiet work, internal work. The kind of work that doesn't produce a single thing you can point to and say, see, I made this. That makes everything else possible later. The environment was getting prepared, and I kept calling it failure. So here's what I want to leave you with tonight, or this morning, whichever this is. If you're in a quiet chapter right now, If this story feels like it has stalled, if you've been waiting for some version of yourself to rise that keeps not arriving, I want to offer you a different frame. Not a fix. I'm not here with a fix. Just a question. What if the waiting isn't the obstacle to the story? What if the waiting is the story? What if right now, in this stillness, your whole nervous system is doing something incredibly careful and incredibly intelligent? Reading the conditions, checking the temperature, asking if the ground is ready. You don't have to perform readiness. You don't have to sprint toward a version of your life that your body hasn't said yes to yet. The environment is being prepared. The story knows when it's time. And I really think, that when it moves, you'll know. Not because someone told you it was time, not because the calendar said so, but because something in you will finally feel the ground shift just enough, just warm enough, just safe enough. And you'll take the first step not because you forced it, but because it was ready. That's all I've got for you tonight. Thank you for sitting in the dark with me for just a few minutes. Take care of yourself.